Welcome to this video where I would like to show you this product. It's a set of paints that I was introduced to in a workshop in Manchester. I saw two people using them and all of a sudden all of us were hooked. So it's by Koh-I-Noor Anilinky, brilliant watercolours, but they're not quite like your typical watercolours. They're quite synthetic, but they're really saturated, intense paints. So this is a brand new box and I'll be demonstrating the paints, probably one of my use sets, with a couple of paintbrushes that I'm a big fan of. Let's get rid of those. So this is Pro Art. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see, and there we go. So one size 4 and one size 2, and they're by Pro Art Proline 101 and size 2 and 4. I love the fact that I've used them in my workshops and they keep a really nice sharp point, even though multiple hands have a go at them. A pipette's really useful for getting the paint and the water kind of sorted. And I typically use khadi paper or cold press. Khadi is cotton rag paper, so it's really nice and textured. Cold press has a little bit of texture, and hot press is my least favourite. It's the least forgiving, but other people do wonderful things with it. So I want to demonstrate the paint on there. And finally, a pot of water and a paper towel. The pot of water might get dirty quite quickly, so therefore be ready to change it. Okay, I keep looking here but not here. Okay. All right, let me show you stages of ownership of this paint set. So let's put the new one there. I think this one, no, this one is there. So it's something where when it's brand new, it's actually in a really good condition. Oh no, I can't lift this up. It's so clean, so nice. But because, like I said, it's quite intense, this is a barely used one. I think I did the colour swatches from this. In good condition. This is me having painted quite a few paintings with it, and these little spillages and these leaks you've got to be careful of. And then this is when multiple hands have used it. It can get really, oh my gosh, really messy. So all I would say is take care of your set, because when you can't distinguish between the colours, it's really hard, and then when it gets murky, it's so annoying. So I'm going to start as I mean to go on, and I'm going to use which set? The second set. The great thing about this, I'll just show you on here, is cleaning the palette is so easy. You just need to add a little bit of water, and then with the brush you can actually just use that again as paint. Or if you don't want to use those colours, you can just wipe them off. So all I'm doing is tickling the paint so that it comes into the water that I've put in here, and then I can get a tissue and just mop it up. And I would recommend doing this every time you use the palette, just because it keeps it all in check. So the main reason I'm doing a demonstration of this paint, ta-da, just like new. What's that? It's supposed to be clean. It's clean. So it's just like new. Perfect. So the reason I'm doing this is because of a little creative set I made. Okay, so this is the creative set that I put together, and what you get in the set is the paints, the brushes, a 2B pencil that I recommend, a little greetings card for you to use, but it's the studio and my cheesy face, some tracing paper, and then the khadi paper that I love so much, a pack of 5 greeting cards, and then some templates. So there's different designs that you can create from these templates. Okay, so that's why I want to do a little video for those people who bought this set, and just want to maybe have a few tips on using the paints. Okay, let us begin. And I'm going to remember to look at the camera. Okay, so what I'd suggest is, if you haven't used the paints before, put a drop of paint, or water, sorry, in each one, so that you can swatch them. And that swatch is really useful because it lets you get to know the nature of the pigments and how they differ and how intense they are. So I'm going to do that on each one, and I'll sort of give you a head start in terms of the colours. So this is ultramarine blue, this is more of a turquoise blue, and this is a purple, this is a brown, a grey and a black. The black's quite weak compared to the intensity of some of these. This is a green, this is more of a limey green, the red, orange, yellow and white. In terms of the intensity of these, I think the red isn't as intense as the others, but let's do a little colour swatching. So all I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to really like show you how little paint I'm putting on here. So just so you can see, look at that. That's all I'm doing, okay? And when I put it on here, you can barely see the colour. And if I put it in my water, watch the, okay, it wasn't so dramatic, but you can see how much colour is in here. And if I spread it across, you can see it's got a lot of range. And if I just go back in, you can see it's a very intense colour. Okay, let's do the same on the cold press. Cold press is very similar to the khadi in terms of, I think it's well behaved. So I'll put the colour down, but I'm going to just spread this across now, and you can see, oh, it's still spreading. I'm going to use a dryer brush. Okay, and my least comfortable is hot press. I just find it really hard to work on. Let's see how it will work. I end up doing things that are quite streaky, and if I do the same on the same technique, the same brush strokes on hot press as I do on cold press or khadi, you get a really nice result on khadi and cold press. So okay, let's do some more. So this second colour is, again, I would say very intense. Shall I be efficient and do them all? It's a very nice turquoisey blue, and if you add a little bit of the green, which I often do, you get a very nice teal. Okay, alright, let's spread this across. Again, you can see it's, you know, it's very intense, a very, I think, lovely colour. Let's do the same here. So there's a lot of value you can get from one colour because of the intensity it starts off with. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. I don't like, what's this called? Hot press. Okay. Alright, next one is a purple. Let's see. And what's really good, if you don't like the almost synthetic, very synthetic look of the paints, and you want something a little bit more organic, if you just add a colour to the one you're using, so you can add a brown, and that will take all of these colours, or you could just add a brown, and that will add a nice, more earthy tone to all of them. You can add a complementary colour. I think I messed that one up. Let's try that again. I'll come back to it. Let's do this one, and then I'm going to come back to the cold press. I don't like hot press. If I whinge one more time, just forgive me. I'm going to just take off some of this, because the other thing is, because it's dye based, I would say it stains the paper more so than typical watercolours. So with watercolours, you can just lift off the paints, and it will, you can, you know, act as though it wasn't even there. It can be lifted off completely. But with these, it will stain the paper. So when I tried to lift that off, it didn't disappear completely. Okay, the brown I've used a lot because I was doing some earthy tones. And the brown isn't as intense as those three. So I've used these paints a lot, and therefore I've got a real sense of their intensity. And I would say the brown's good. The brown is good, but not mega intense. Okay. I could probably add more brown to the beginning of that one. Let's see. Yeah, if we want to see the intensity, there's more intensity there. And then this one, okay, so the grey, I don't really even remember using the grey. It's something and nothing. It's not really much. And I think actually watercolours, no, I'm not going to say the end of my sentence. Then you're not supposed to laugh in my video. You can laugh, I can pretend you are here.
No, I thought, okay.
You can be here. Because if we can hear you breathing.
So I'm trying to...
Not breathe?
No, I shouldn't have had coffee before this.
Why?
I feel very farty. So I'm gonna...
That's going in the video.
No, stop now.
I have an assistant behind the camera today. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Teenager. Okay, I'm running out of space, but we'll carry on. The white I'm not going to demonstrate, but the green I am going to demonstrate. And they've had more time, the greens, or, you know, to sit here. And this is now back to being a more intense paint. Very similar to the blues. So the blues and the purple and the greens are definitely I think the money makers in the pack. They're so good, but you know, they are very vibrant, they are very bright. I was going to say unnatural, but actually when you look at flowers in nature, they can be phenomenally bright, so doesn't necessarily mean that. Okay, this green is also pretty fine. And let's see. I'm moaning less about the hot press, which is good. Okay, I think I'm going to bring the next swatch of papers in. Okay, we'll do them. We'll do one more and then we'll do that. Now with this, because there's a little bit of a hole in the the pan, I'm going to... So this red is good, but it's lacking that intensity that the others have. So I think it can do wonders, but I think in comparison to the others, perhaps it's lacking something. Like, it's not as highly pigmented, it's not glowing off the page. But yeah, it is still fine. Okay, let's continue. Let's move these up, and we've just got, I think, 2 more to go. Oh, that's a shame I didn't fit them all in. It's fine. I think the orange is quite good, but again, it's very similar to, I guess, the red, but a little bit stronger than the red. Because it gives good colour. Actually, you know what? It isn't that different to the greens and the purples. You get very nice... There's something so shiny and saturated about these. And in terms of how much paint I'm putting down and how much water I'm putting down, there's a lot of water. And the water in watercolours is the key to making it work. But the water in these sets is 100% like the thing that makes all the pigment really kind of show its full range. So if you use it straight from the pan, which I never do, unless I'm trying to drop in like a little bit of intensity into a shape, then it's good to use lots of water with it. Okay, so say I didn't want my colours to be this intense. Let's move these above. Just say I wanted to have my colours a little bit more organic. Let's just do it with, I don't know, this blue, this middle one. So you can take the colour and you can see how intense it is. And if you added, one thing you can do is you can add brown to it and it softens it up. So it's still a really nice teal, but it's just got a little bit more of a grounded earthy tone. If you add black to it, let's just take another patch of it. And I haven't used the white yet. Oh my gosh, I added too much black, but that's fine. You can see it's really quite rich. So let's spread this out a little bit. Let's see. Okay, and if I wanted to add white to it, now when you're using the white, just be really careful that you don't get your brush getting the white too dirty. The amount of time that the white's been ruined, so I might just switch brushes just for using the white, just so that it's something I can drop in. And I'm going to not let it touch the blue so that I can keep my white clean. And now that there's a little bit of white with that blue, let's mix it together. And you can see you've got another potential outcome. So if we compare it to the original, that one, I got 3 things from it. Okay, so I hope that helps, but I want to actually paint something in the style I typically do so that we can see how we can use different techniques for that. Oh, there you are. I'm going to clean up for a second. Okay, so let's get ready for a painting. Right, so I'm all ready to transfer. Well, I've transferred the pattern already. So I typically take one of the Islamic geometric patterns I've drawn, draw it on tracing paper, turn it upside down and transfer it by rubbing with a spoon. I just wanted to show you before I get going. Look at the state of the tissue, okay, from when I just cleaned it, and your hands can get quite mucky. So just be aware that this quality of the paint, which is its strength, it can also be a major annoyance as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to, I'll use the typical colours I like, but with maybe green. I did something with green and purple the other day, so I might do a little bit of that. Green, blue and purple. Okay, so I always suggest doing it in the pan rather than directly from here, because they are intense and they're really hard to control. So I'm going to take a little bit of the paint and put it into the palette, and then I'll do the same with the green. And that's when you actually see the colour. If you use it directly from here, there's so much pigment in that little brush that you won't actually see any of the colour. So you mix it, prepare it here before you paint, and then you can kind of add intense spots to your painting, but it's best to just make sure you have it all prepped already. So the mix of paint, water and paint is all ready to go. So the style I'm going to do with my dirty fingers is I'm going to put down the paint just inside the lines, and if I do that for every single shape, already gone a bit skew whiff on that one, what I'll do is I'll then rub out the pencil lines, and then I can, I think, spread the paint quite easily, because this is a size 4 brush and therefore it holds quite a lot. Okay, if you want sharper corners, then potentially a smaller brush might help do that. So if I just switch to the other colour, other size, so this is a size 2 brush, so a thinner line, it holds less paint, but for the outlining you can get sharper edges and tips and corners with this, but I probably have to dip the brush again. So it's a play off for me for those two things. How often do I need to reload the brush, and how sharp do I want my corners? You could do a bit of both, like whichever combination of brushes you want to use. I'm not doing a good tip of even using the line, so I'm gonna do the green one as well. We'll do just the plain colours as they are, and then I want to do some mixed colours. So this might not be the most beautiful art piece and most coherent design, but it's a good demo. So those three, all I've done is keep them exactly as they are. Now if I wanted to mix them up a little bit, the thing with this paint, it does spread very easily as soon as it's wet, so that's why I keep the gap. So here, because I'm quite close to the line, on the other side I'm going to just keep it a little bit far, because although I'm doing the same colour, I want it to be different. So what I'm doing here is I'm loading up the brush with the green, cleaning it out, that green, loading up with the purple. They're not touching because I want them to spread a little bit, and so every time I'm switching colour, I'm cleaning the brush in the water. So just doing that and then wiping it here, and now I'm doing like a zigzag motion to bring these two together. And because I want it to look quite mixed, I'm doing it with a dry brush and then just basically letting them mix with each other. Let's try it with the purple and the other green. So again, the idea is I'll do paint on one side, clean the brush, paint on the other side, spread it a little bit. This usually works half and half if the pigments are both equal in their saturation, but sometimes one is more powerful than the other. So when you have that, it's like the purple will just rush all into the green, and it will take over. And also sometimes in the mix it can look a bit murky, not beautiful in the mix. So when you're planning to do this sort of thing, I would recommend just having a play first to see what the mix of them look like, and then when you know what it looks like, you can decide. Oh, and throw your brush away. Okay, let's do that. So again, I want to mix these. I think the green is going to be quite dominant on that. Like, stay in your area. But that doesn't help. I just drag the green to the other side. Okay, let's see how they dry, because also with paints, if they don't dry as you want, you can re-wet them, relayer them, and still do and create beautiful things once you know what it looks like when they're dry. Wet paint can look really beautiful, so just bear that in mind. Don't kind of think, oh, that's it, game over. Okay, the other thing I wanted to do, so this next three, is just show this idea that you can just use a little bit of paint and get a lot of value from it by spreading it into basically water, or all I'm doing is spreading it with almost clean water. The paint is murkying up the water, so you can get really light colour. Now what's nice is if you put a little bit of intensity at one end, and you can let the water do the spreading. Now if you don't like how it's spreading, you can also take some off, but like I said, can you see it stains the water a bit? So therefore, what did I just do that for? Therefore you can lift it up, but it has permanently stained the paper to purpliness. But that can be a really nice look. And when you do this, if you do exactly the same every single time, so if you're doing lots of shapes and you want to look the same, try to do the same every single time. Like, so I'm going to spread it that much, and now I'm going to clean the brush, and then I'm going to spread it to the rest, almost with like nothing on my paint. Sorry, just water, and then like so. So you have the same technique, and if you don't like the graduation you're getting, you can always lift it up and just put some paint or water down, and you can also just go directly to the pan and drop in a little bit of colour. The only thing is it's so intense, it might spread more so than you want it to. And if you want to get a consistent look, whatever you do, you just do the same every single time. Let's do it with this guy. So I'm going to do the V I might do a little bit of a spread and then clean everything out, and I'll put water on the other side. Oh, there's a dog howling, literally howling. Okay, and put that down. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
It's sad. Again, that is maybe a little bit more intense, so you can just lift it up and then spread what you have, and you can add more intensity. So we had the plain colours, a bit of a mix, and some shady fadiness here. So maybe rather than use the purple, the green and the green, let's do another set. Okay, let's get rid of this. Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, I could. So many decisions to make. Let's do it with the yellow, because I do like the yellow. And the red. So the yellow, it can easily get a little bit dirty. So only a small amount of contamination, and it's sort of a different shade of yellow. So I'm going to try that again. Let's try that again, because I think in my, yeah, it's a bit more clean, more glowing and golden. The orange and the red, and the red, it was in a dirty spot. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these three, I'll use them as they are, and then I'm going to add oh, I did it again. I used the clean brush. If you're using one of the light colors, again, try to be really careful that you keep it uncontaminated. So this is just the plain one. Let's do the orange. Nice solid amount of color. I think I can get a bit more intensity from that. It's probably got a little bit of another color in it. Can we change the water? Thank you. This is quite murky. That's fine. Let's do. It's like I'm not sure whether I clean my pots sufficiently. So that red, there's something in there. It's not being its proper vibrant self. It's not strong enough to resist contamination, so to speak. Whereas these, you wouldn't notice it so much. Okay, so what I want to do is add a little bit of brown to each of these. So if I drop in a brown, drop in a brown, drop in a brown, let's see what they become. So this idea that you can just have a new range of colours, more earthy, less saturated, equally beautiful, and the amount you add can be as subtle as you like, but if you don't like it being so earthy, you can just add back in the orange. If you want a bit of texture, you could add it to a corner. Let's see what this is like. This is already a bit earthy because I contaminated it. Yeah, let's add a bit more red. I'm painting with a 2 size brush, and I think I'm missing the joy of the slightly bigger brush. So let's try that. So these subtle differences, getting slightly different range of paints from them. Why did I do that? Okay, it's good. And again, if you want to mix them with each other and get really kind of interesting colours in your shape, you can put them all in one. So again, I'm going to put a bit of yellow here. Actually, well, let's do a different technique. Let's do wet in wet. So I'm going to wet the whole thing. Pretend that's the base of the colour. And you can drop in a bit of red, and it's sort of doing all the mixing for you. And because I've done it with quite a big brush, it's quite powerful. Let's do the orange. So I'm going to put the orange down. It's not looking very orangey, is it? So now I'm going to drop in. I don't think it will take the yellow, so I'm just putting a little bit of orange, red. Let's try it with yellow and then drop in some orange. So these are all the earthy versions of this red, orange and yellow. There we go. So there's a lot of range in this, so you can get really synthetic colours, but look at the rest as well, how you can blend them, get some texture and so on. And on this khadi paper it's really forgiving. I want to show you some examples of paintings I've done using this paint set, and there's loads. I'm surprised there's not a ton behind me, but if I show you a few, then maybe that will kind of get you creating. Okay, so some examples of me using this paint set. So this is as it was, probably near enough the day I got it. So the colours you see are probably without me mixing them up too much. Here I'm just using a bit of white inside the red and the purple, and then creating a palette from the red and the purple and the white. Let's go with that. Okay, so this is using brown, orange and a bit of red. Here you can see the original colours, so the two greens and the blue, and adding a little bit of grey to them, just getting a far more earthy palette. So overall I think this is a great paint set. They're really cheap. They're under about £5, £6, £7, £8 depending on where you get them from. They're stocked at Cass Art online, and I'm a big fan of them. And I think of the three things involved, paper, paint and a paintbrush, don't skimp on the paper. Get good paper, but you can get an inexpensive paint set and get so much value out of them. There are so many beautiful paints out there, so you can get and enjoy those, but these ones, they're so cheap and they're so brilliant. I just had to give them a little shout out. If you've got any questions, please do ask in the comments or the caption. And yeah, bye.